Okay. Facebook. All right. There we go. We're live on Facebook. And we're live over here. Very cool. I already have a few attendees too.
You have attendees? Nice.
Attendees, people watching. So looks like we've got 4 already. And confirming we're live. These are the fun technical things of doing this little live show and not being that technologically savvy, is that I'm actually like narrating the things that I do as we do them. Back of the house.
It's a little chat thing at the bottom. Is that?
Click it.
Chat.
Yeah, click the chat and you'll see Steve and Martha Hewitt are joining us again. Thank you from Columbus, Ohio. Saying hello to everybody and congratulations to you.
Buckeyes. Nice.
Oh, and they've got a 2010 McPrice Myers L'Ange Rouge.
L'Ange Rouge.
L'Ange Rouge.
Isn't that the baby that you just barely that you just released, Mac?
It's a 10.
The 2010 L'Ange Rouge, the one that you were saying was
yeah, I mean, that's one of our current library releases. Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. And well, they have their hands on one. They're fun Paso Wine fans for sure. They always are able to open a wine, it seems like, every time that is appropriate to the show. So
right.
Appreciate you guys doing that. It looks like we got a few people over on the Facebook side of things. So we'll give it just another minute, everyone. Talk amongst yourselves and we'll get rolling. All right. Cool. All right, right on, everyone. So thank you for joining us for another Paso Robles Wine Hour, Paso Wine Hour. Chris Toronto here again with the Paso Robles Wine Country Alliance. And we've got a really cool show. Every year we have a couple of announcements that we do as it pertains to people that we like to celebrate in our industry. We're really good at that. And we find some really cool, deserving individuals all the time. This year, our deserving individual of the 2021 Paso Robles Wine Country Industry Person of the Year is Billy Grant. And so Billy, we're going to get into his background and all of the good stuff of why he is deserving of this. We're also going to talk a little shit about him and get into...
There's so much to discuss when you take it that direction. When you go that direction, it's endless.
So we'll get into that. And we're also meeting up with McPrice Myers, or Mac, as we call him, and as he goes by in town, with McPrice Myers as his brand. We'll be talking to him because Billy and Mac are working together these days. And so I thought it apropos to bring Mac on into the show. He's been on once before, but we didn't get a lot of Mac's backstory. And so this is a great opportunity for us to talk more about his brand and what direction it's going in, a little bit of the wines. And if you've not had these wines before, you really should. You're lagging because they're amazing. And so we'll talk a little bit about what makes them amazing later on in the show. But first, let's give a quick little second here for our guests to say hello. I'm going to start with Mac. Mac, please say hello, your name, the brand, and all that good stuff.
McPrice Myers, also known as Mac. I'm the founder and winemaker of McPrice Myers Wines here in Paso Robles, located off Adelaide Road in the beautiful Adelaide district.
Awesome. And we'll get into a lot of the detail on the property, winery and next haps over there for hospitality and all those good things of how you can take advantage of them if you're coming into town, or if you're already in town and you don't know much about it yet. This will probably inspire you to get out there. Billy Grant. You know, Billy, I met Billy, well, I guess I met you back when I first started my job about 15 years ago, but I feel maybe I even met you before then. You came into town, what was that, in the 04 time period or so? saw.
Yeah, '04 is when I came to town. I started investing with the Four Vines project. My good friend and longtime friend from back east, Christian TG, and his partner Susan Mahler. I started investing with them in 2002, and I came to town in 2004.
Yeah. Now you've known him forever, and a little bit of Billy's backstory is that you were into like PayPal type stuff or something, but for the bank industry. Is that right?
Electronic payment processing had some interesting patents and ideas around electronic money movement back in 86, 7, 8, 9, and 93. Turned that into a business with a group of business partners in San Francisco, and it was dedicated to the mortgage and lending institutions. And we built that out, and
it sounds really boring
company,
to be honest.
You can only imagine how much fun I made it, though. Think about it, guys. One of the ways I made it fun is I entertained all those people in Silverado Country Club, and
there you go.
I got my wine bug up in Napa the old-fashioned way. I roamed around and I drank wine, and it was quite educational, a lot of fun. And when my stint in San Francisco came to an end, I was at a crossroads of either doing a project with another friend of mine in Sonoma County, Pinot Chard project actually, or hook up with my childhood friend Christian TG, who was introducing me to Paso Robles. And only took one trip down here. I, on the way home, dropped the car I drove down at a consignment shop, told the guy sell it, went down, got a Ford F-150, and then I came back to town. And I never looked back. Yep. Never looked back.
So you've been driving a truck ever since, basically.
Yeah, I went back to fairly nice BMWs, I must admit, lately. But all the other winemakers in town, also I'm looking around, they're all driving Porsches all of a sudden. Wasn't that way in 2004.
That's like three
changed
people.
A little.
Come on.
Even here, it's changed a little bit.
Well,
I still got the same boots on that I put on when I came. I still got my same ropers.
Okay, so this award, by the way, everybody, I need to tell you, it's an award that's nominated and then voted on by the Wine Country Alliance's membership. Okay, so it goes out to all of if it sounds like it's a popularity contest, well, maybe, but it's also, you're not necessarily nominated unless you haven't done something. And the people that have won this award in past years, I mean, if you just going back to 2020 award, that was the Beckett family. You might recall we did do a Beckett family show. Before that, Neil Collins, Austin Hope, Steve Lohr, Paul Hoover, Jason Haas, Stefan Aseo, Justin Smith, Dana Merrill. These are all just in the 20s, right? Or in the 2000s. And so, I mean, the list goes all the way back to 1990, where Herman Schwartz was actually our very first founding kind of person who.
He was still on the board when I joined up with the PRWCA when I first came to town.
Is that right? Okay. Yeah. That's cool. That's really cool. But since then, other people, Dr. Stanley Hoffman got it once, Max Goldman, the Steinbecks, Gary Eberly, so many names on here who have been so deserving and have received this award. And now, Billy, you're part of this list now. And I think that's pretty cool because as I mentioned, the membership of the Wine Country Alliance is who votes on this. They see somebody who's done a lot in this industry. And Billy, it's funny, I wrote in the press release, I think that, we affectionately call you the loudest guy in the room. But that's
I can't imagine why. It makes no sense to me.
That's not just in the room, but you have been kind of raising that megaphone for Paso for quite some time now.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's easy to get when you, number one, if you love what you do, it never feels like work. And I've always been fortunate that way, especially those last 15 years. But if you genuinely believe in what you're representing, I don't care what it is, it's easy. And for me, a lot of that outward reach, and even when I didn't have a winery in this industry, I sold my winery in 2011 with Christian. It was just easy to constantly promote Paso Robles everywhere I went, and in my travels with Janelle and her winery and things of that nature, because up and down California, just because I believe in Paso Robles. I believe what we're doing. I believe the wines are world class. They just continue to go there and go there and go there. And believing in it just makes it easy to talk about it, to brag about it, to draw attention to all the great winemakers that are here. And that's just been a big part of what I've always liked to do when it comes to Paso Robles.
What was it like when you first got on the road and you were talking about Four Vines, and let's review the fact that the whole naked Chardonnay thing basically started with you. But what was it like getting out on the road and talking about Paso during a time where Paso really wasn't that well known?
Well, we started blowing it. We started really blowing it up when I joined. That was the first investment I made with Christian and Sam. Christian had invented that whole naked Chardonnay thing and wrote naked on the bottles. That's what got me excited about joining him. By the time we were done, we had trademarked it and successfully done so. But taking that thing nationwide with Chris and Sam was absolutely a highlight for sure. And then when we decided to put it on an Airstream bus with a roof deck on it and do the drinknakedamerica.com tour, that kind of took it to another level. But yeah, we always had a lot of fun with that. It was a great brand to build, and became a cornerstone in what Christian and Sam and I accomplished with Four Vines.
Yeah, and it was, I actually remember the Drink Naked whole campaign with that thing. That was pretty cool. It was pretty innovative, and it was definitely outside of the box of the normal, wine thing. So I thought it was pretty cool. Whatever happened to that thing?
I still own it. Matter of fact, just put a new engine in it, and it's sitting down in Austin, Texas at the International Speedway. And I am, matter of fact, I'll be going to check it out and do a little more work on it next week, going down to Austin to get a little more work done on the interior. And then Mac and I will potentially come up with a plan to do a little bit of marketing off that bus here in the not too distant future. I've already picked out the Longhorns that are going to get strapped to the front of it. I've talked to Janelle's brother Michael on how do you attach those son of a guns to the front of this thing, and the Bull by the Horns tour might be the next one. Who knows? We're gonna do some stuff that's interesting with that as we grow this great project that Mac has been working on for a few years. It's exciting, and we'll get into that when we get in with Mac's wine and stuff like that. But this new partnership with Mac and him inviting me to play over in his sandbox and work with him day to day has been absolutely fantastic. And we've been on a practice run on really going for about 2 years now, working together, and we made it pretty official here this last year when we figured out we could stand each other and tell each other what we really think, and nobody gets their feelings hurt. We knew we could go for it, so that's what we're doing now.
Awesome.
Looking forward to it.
I'm adding Janelle to the list here.
Oh, jeez.
Billy was just
This
talking
the part
about
where you're
Janelle.
gonna start busting my balls and giving me shit. Oh
Yeah.
man.
Get ready, Mac. That tour is crazy. But you know what he does? Billy can sell wine like no other person I've ever met. And congratulations for the award, Billy. And if there's anybody else that loves wine, is more infectious about loving wine as you are, you deserve it. So congratulations. I'm here with Billy's daughters too. They want to say congratulations.
Congratulations, Faj.
Hi guys. Oh my God, you guys, you're too much. Too much. Thank you so
Have
much.
fun in that bus tour. It's big, it's bad, Charlie, and yeah.
Max already said he's not sleeping on the
You
bus.
see
We got to pull into
excitement in my
hotels.
face, Look at this
I'm
excitement.
watching your face, Mac. I can know you're ready for it.
Ugh. Yeah, sure am. Yeah.
Janelle,
Not showing it, but the enthusiasm is welding up inside Mac as he listens to this. Yeah. He's already declared he's not sleeping on the bus. Period. So.
Period.
So Janelle, just if you want to, well, if you're wanting to, you can stay on if you want. I don't care.
Oh no, I'm good. I just want to say congratulations. Anything else, Chris?
No,
I don't need Janelle here if there's going to be
on the other link.
If we're gonna get to the shit talking spot.
Happy birthday, Janelle.
Oh yeah, happy
Yeah,
birthday, Janelle.
birthday. All right, bye guys. Have fun. Congrats. And we're drinking your wine, Mac. So
All right.
Awesome.
Oh God.
Anyway, I wanted to pop Janelle in. I worked that out with her before, so that way we could, at least get her and get your kids on to say congratulations to you, Billy. So I'm stoked that worked out.
No, anyway, we'll wrap up this whole part of it. I'm anxious to get talking about Mac and the amazing stuff he's doing. I was really humbled to do this, by the way. When I got a call saying that I actually been nominated, that was plenty, to be quite honest with you. I was really I was excited. I was like, wow, that's really cool. Thank you guys, and didn't really give much thought of it. And then when you guys told me that I'll be having this award, I was happy. It does mean something. I'm glad it's from the peers like that. That's nice, and it's incredibly appreciated from all the people that I've been working with all these years. People I talk to every day. People I do have lunch with and dinner with, and we talk the business and we talk about the exciting things that's going on and what they're doing. And so it's been pretty cool. So it's much appreciated. And now it's time to go to work.
So a few facets though for the audience. I mean, a few facets of the things you've consulted with brands, and then you've worked in logistics, and you've done a lot of other marketing endeavors with other brands. You've been involved in Custom Crush. I mean, there's been so many facets of the industry that you've been a part of, and somehow in the background have kind of helped to affect in Paso. I mean, there's so much diversity of things that you have been involved in. And I just wanted everybody to kind of hear a little bit of that. It's like, it isn't just working on a brand, working on with McPrice or Janelle even, or even Four Vines, but there's been other things, other endeavors that you've been a part of.
All aspects of this business excite me, right? I mean, I got excited about a guy who wanted to own a couple of bottling lines and run a couple of bottling lines a long time ago. So I bought a couple of bottling lines and understood and got to learn that part of the business. Been involved in a lot of different types of transactions, and help in putting the companies together and structuring deals and purchases and all kinds of fun things like that. And then the marketing, the distribution. I like all facets of it. The industry is significantly more intellectually stimulating than what a lot of people think. When I left what I did, and I was coming into this, I did it because I wanted to lessen the expense of my growing wine habit. It was getting expensive, and getting involved in the industry seemed like a nice way to bring that down a little bit, you know. And Christian got me excited. He's the guy that his enthusiasm is infectious. We all know him, and that just completely boiled me over. And I think that I might have thought originally, oh, I'm just going to go to this business, and we work a few months a year to crush fruit, and then do this and that, and then we sell a little bit, but there's a lot of time between. So then it became an all-encompassing business, and all aspects of it became it's complicated. And as much as, say, working with the stuff I did before, I thought was very, very stimulating from the standpoint of all the different facets of it, this business is no different. So the fact that it was multifaceted and there were so many pieces to the puzzle really, really got me engaged. And I wanted to try to understand a lot of them. So I got involved with a lot of aspects of it over the period of the years that I've been doing this. But now I'm back to what I believe where my sweet spot is, where my wheelhouse is, working on scoping and building a little bit of a bigger brand, getting back on the road a little bit, working in distribution, and branding and selling a brand that I absolutely believe in and love every inch of. So I'm excited about that, and it's definitely where my wheelhouse is, and I'm excited right back in the middle of that. And Mac has been gracious enough to let me really dig in with them and get beside him and rock this thing. So it's good.
Cool.
Real good.
Right on, Billy. Mac, getting over to you. Let's get into a little bit of the background, Mac. And we'll keep talking to Billy, and we're going to keep going back and forth and finding out what everybody's drinking.
I'm having a drinking lunch. I'm drinking for real. Everyone else on this Zoom might be drinking for fake. Like Chris and Mac might take a sip, but they're kind of just doing that because they're supposed to. I've actually been drinking since 12 o'clock, so I'm going to keep on going.
Good job, Billy. Mac, you started McPrice Myers Wines. I think I read in, I already forgot it. 2002, first vintage in 2002. Prior to that, though, you were down working a little bit in Santa Barbara. Is that right?
I started in Santa Barbara County.
Okay.
I started in Central Coast Wine Services. I really didn't have much prior experience outside of working for some wineries for like a couple days at a time. But I just decided that the only way for me to really get into this industry is buy some grapes and buy some barrels and go to a custom crush facility. And I knew by going to those places that there was so many people all kind of doing the same thing. You can be in one building, maybe 40 wineries, which was great. And so I knew if I really wanted to learn, I could. And if I made a small amount of wine that was halfway decent, I could sell it. And that was kind of my goal in the original kind of plan. But then once I kind of started really kind of diving into the Central Coast at large, and then the Rhone varieties, I just knew this is where I wanted to be. And then that's when, when I started McPrice Myers, it was really just about like doing single vineyard Rhone wines from really cool, unique spots all over the Central Coast. That was kind of my initial goal.
Wait, but before wine though, what were you doing?
I was working at Trader Joe's.
All right.
I worked at Trader Joe's, and I would take all my vacation time to go up to the wine country and be a day labor guy, and then I only did that for 2 vintages, and then I went to Central Coast Wine Services to make some wine.
Wow. I didn't know that about you. I had no idea. So that's cool.
I took my life savings, which wasn't much, but I took my life savings and I bought some barrels and I bought some grapes and made some wine. And that's where I met the famous Russell Fromm from Herman's Story. He was working at Central Coast Wine Services, and we were the same age, and we both liked to drink beer. So the relationship was forged. Yeah.
And didn't you guys have a little label at some point?
Yeah. So we had Barrel 27.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. That was because we were both 27 years old when we bottled the first wine. And so we, needless to say, the name started as a one-off. We're both 27. Let's just call it Barrel 27. And it was kind of a take on the old, the Australian kind of bin this, bin that, like Penfolds does. It was kind of our take on that. And but it took off pretty quick, and we were able to build it, and it was quite popular.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And so after, kind of progressing along, you were over there kind of in the small industrial area for a bit, right? Over on the east side of town. Yeah.
So, after kind of working all over the Central Coast and buying fruit and, all over, Paso just spoke to me. The community here, the camaraderie. I just really felt that it was where I wanted to be. Russell and I both, because we both moved there together. But it was just, we like the people, we like the community, and so we moved the winery up to right off Union Road there on the east side, and it was the old Garrettson facility.
Oh, that yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so, we all knew that facility because there was a bunch of wineries that started there and made their first wines there. So it was kind of cool. We thought it was kind of a legacy thing, but we took over that facility and made quite a bit of wine in there. And we did that from 2008 to 2014.
Oh, you were there a while then. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Very cool. Billy, you're back. Hopefully that was a good bathroom break for you.
I am of the age where bathroom breaks potentially come a little more frequently. Mac and the cellar staff there don't ever hesitate or not take the opportunity to remind me of that. So yes, I needed to exit for a moment.
That is true. We have to do it because nobody else will. That's for sure.
So we had tough technical difficulties a little bit ago in getting an additional guest on who cannot be on camera because he's driving north, but I wanted to introduce Christian Ticci to the program.
There you go.
Are you there?
Hey, Sir William.
Hey, buddy. How are you, man?
Another day, another time.
There you go. There you go.
But congratulations, man. I'm blown away. I think this is awesome.
Thank you so much,
Can you
pal.
hear me?
Wouldn't be sitting here if you hadn't invited me to come down here.
Yeah. So where are you? Are you up in the hills or something?
I'm in Tahoe, and I'm just down the street from where your brother used to live.
Right on.
Yeah.
Man. That's awesome.
I just saw some of the
So
old
you
guys
guys-
from our advanced ski school days with Sam last week. Yeah.
Right on. So Chris,
So this is what
You
we would
wanted
do
me to-
when it wasn't a thousand days a year. Chris and I would come up here with Sam and get a couple weeks in right around the holiday each year, or in January. Yeah. Nowadays you can't
Yeah, I
take
would-
2 weeks off in a row if you tried.
Yeah.
yeah, well, that's yeah. Believe me, it was a really, really amazingly fun time. I mean, I couldn't have picked anybody to do what we did. We built 4 vines into a magical place, and I think it was timely for Paso. It was timely for what we were doing, and I couldn't have picked a better person to do it with. So, super grateful, and I'm glad we had the fun that we had.
We did, buddy. Thank you so much. Much appreciated.
It may have shaved a couple of years off of both of our lives, but I don't think I think I'd gladly give those up.
Yeah, like when Chris takes me on a sales trip, he says, "Hey, we're gonna go a sales trip. I'll kind of give you a little laydown. I kind of go to visit a distributor. You know, go out and drag a bag, do the thing, and we get plane tickets. We fly to Washington D.C. I think we're gonna go drive down to Richmond, and we're gonna go visit the Richmond guys. And we land, and we get in the rental car, and he gets on the phone. He calls the guy, and the way he's talking, I'm like, has he talked? Does this guy know that we just flew here? And Chris goes, yeah, we got to go spend a few days someplace else. We're going to back catch him at the end of the week. I go, where are we going? He goes, we're going to Charleston. And we drove to Charleston, South Carolina. I shit you not, you guys. And we had the greatest ride west and a great visit down there. But I'll never forget that. We drove to Charleston from Washington, D.C., knocked it out of the park the next day, ate at as many restaurants as Chris could get us into. And it was an absolute blast. And he showed me the ropes, and he showed me that when you bring the enthusiasm of Paso to the supplier side or to the distributor side, it's infectious, and that's how you win them over, and that's how you do it. It's Chris who taught me, you go out there, you work with people, you create relationships, and you win over a portion of the sales reps that you make a connection with, and they'll sell all the wine you want to sell in this given markets. And that's who I learned that from going out and doing the things that him and I did together. And I've done the same thing ever since.
And I think the commando technique, I mean, one of the things about distributors is like they manage you. They're like, oh, you can come to the market here and we'll find you some people and stuff like that. And it's like they put you in such a box that no wonder anybody can get anything done. So, we would literally go to markets, and if, we'd schedule certain ones and other ones, we would just be like, we're going to go set up meetings and go see the retailer that we wanted to go see, or we'd go see the restaurant group we'd want to see, And lots of times the distributor would be like, wait a minute, they're in town? What are they doing? Wait, and they would literally come running after us and play catch up. But it's like we weren't really ever going to be put in the box. And I think Billy was like, we can do that. And I was just like, fuck yeah, we could do that. And Billy was just like,
There's
okay,
nothing
let's
like
do that.
being
So
there's nothing like being in the car with a sales rep, and all day long her boss is blowing up her phone or his phone. They can't answer because they can't tell him that I'm sitting there or Chris is there. We're actually out selling wine together. They can't. We can't tell them you guys came into town. We're gonna get killed.
And then they couldn't complain because we'd sell a pallet of wine.
100%.
And it was crazy. So and the thing is the distributor world has just gotten even worse. There's fewer and fewer distributors, and there's companies out there like Daniel Dow and everybody. They're putting people on the street all over the place, and they're doing what needs to be done.
Tough market.
Wine, but
yeah.
But it still comes down to personality. People, let's assume everybody's making good wine, but it's really going to come down to that personality. It's going to come down to the excitement you bring, and are you going to educate them, or are you going to start, And Billy's the master. People love him. I don't know about all his old girlfriends and stuff like that, but I got in trouble.
Yeah, those stories stay between us, buddy. What happens on the road? What happens on the road stays on the road. That's the motto.
Of course.
Mac knows that motto really good. He spent 4 days in Vegas. He knows.
But But Billy and I also did some other fun things. We were pretty cutting edge and some cool stuff. There was one year, you know, Billy and I were talking. We came up with the idea of let's get tattoos, and we got all these great labels and logos. Let's do temporary tattoos. And so we ordered a bunch of them, and they showed up. And it was that year that, you know, the Zap and the Boston Wine Expo fell on the same weekend. So, you know, he went to one and I went to the other. And so I flew back east and went to the Boston Wine Expo, and Billy's doing Zap. And he calls me up and he's like, "Oh my God, these tattoos are awesome." He's like, "I've had so many drunk women wanting me to put tattoos in the weirdest places, but it's so much fun." And I was just like, "Dude, I had the same thing in Boston. Everybody was going crazy with them." You know, and the next year,
I almost got thrown out of that.
Tattoos.
I would have got thrown out of that Zap if the guy's doing the Zen. Who was your mentor? The guy that had the Cardinal Zen. Who was that guy?
Oh, Randall Graham. Randall Graham.
Yeah. Randall Graham softened what I was doing because he had all of his. He had a bunch of girls in Catholic schoolgirl outfits handing out condoms at Zap. It made me look. It didn't make me stand out as much, so I didn't get thrown out.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
Teach Randall for these little purposes in life.
Awesome. Teach, I'm gonna let you go here now because we're gonna get back into where we were going with the show. And I appreciate you calling in.
Thanks, Teach.
Going up to Monterey.
Later, buddy.
Yeah, guys, you're the bomb. Mac, you're stoked. You got Billy as a partner in crime in this whole thing. I'm stoked for what you guys are gonna do, and I'm stoked for the whole next chapter. So for all of us, it's gonna be exciting.
Right on, man.
Thanks,
See you.
Congrats. Love you. Take care. Shine bright.
buddy.
Thanks for including me, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Teach. Thanks for calling in. All right, right on. So that was great. Cool. I'm stoked we were able to do that. Mac, I'm sorry we interrupted you mid-story there.
All good.
That he was on, and he, you know, his cell service was somewhere in the middle
It's all good.
while out there on the road. So we were talking though a little bit about how you were over there in Matt Garrettson's old space, and then as popularity grew and as things were kind of unfolding all over, I mean, we had a moment in time, I feel like, in Paso a few years ago where all of a sudden some really cool properties started to kind of pop up and be available. I mean, you lucked into a really cool spot out there on Adelaida Road.
Yeah. So, you know, back in 2000, I want to say about 2008, 7 or 8, a good buddy of mine, Joey Tensley, down in Santa Barbara County, makes some great Syrahs. He invited me to his boss's, or a guy he makes wine for. I guess technically his boss, but he bought this property off Adelaida Road. And so we came up here, it was Hospice Daron weekend. We came up here, and I remember driving up the hill, and I was, you know, from the road, you can't tell what's going on. And then you get to the top and you're like, holy crap, this view, this whole thing. So that was the first time I was introduced to this property. Joey was making the wines. A couple years later, for 2 years, because I knew the owner, David Hardy, I bought some fruit from the vineyard, and it was delicious. And, you know, a lot of things about the property were, you know, incredible. And then 2014, Derby was leasing the winery, and he needed to get someone in quickly. So I knew the property, and I worked out a deal to where we could move in, take over the tasting room, take over the winery, and take over the vineyard, and have an option to buy it down the road. And we did. And so we moved here in 2014, and it was a great move. And the property's insane. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really lucky.
That's really cool. And I mean, since moving there though, I mean, location, like you were in a cool spot over there off of 46 East. I think it really got like this kind of popularity from an industrial park standpoint. I mean, that's pre-Tin City. But did it work for you after you moved over to Adelaida?
Yeah. Yeah, it was cool. It was the right time. It was before Tin City, which, you know, was a great timing for us. This area was growing, and it was just a good spot. We were able to open a tasting room for the first time, so we were able to build our direct to consumer business, which was, when you make wine in just a custom crush facility, that's the hard thing to do. So we did that. And then once I was able to move out here to this property, the direct to consumer thing really opened up for us. And, that was when we really started seeing, club membership and, just the brand really grab onto a following. And it's pretty exciting for sure.
Right on. We had a question here, though, moving back in time a little. Central Coast Wine Services owned by the family that owns Bien Nacido. That's right?
Well, the Miller family. They own Bien Nacido, they own Solomon Hills, and they own French Camp Vineyards. French Camp here in Paso.
Yeah, way out east. We did a show with them not long ago, and that was pretty cool. That's a neat vineyard. Let's talk about when you met Billy. Let's talk a little bit about how this partnership came to be, because this is pretty interesting stuff here. Because you do have, Billy showed a different brand earlier, High on the Hog. I don't know if it's necessarily a different brand, but the packaging is far different than McPrice Myers stuff. Let's talk a little bit about how that came to be.
You got it. So, I had the option to purchase the property, and I needed to talk to somebody about how I could do that. Bringing in a partner, acquiring something like this, and I started working with Billy on that. And after more than a few meetings and stuff, I think we just started clicking. We realized that we both had similar passions, and we both had similar kind of aspirations for this business. And we both had a love for Paso, which was, as we just talked about with Billy, was huge. And so, that's kind of how it started. That's how I got introduced to working with Billy. I mean, we knew of each other. We knew, we hung out here and there, but never kind of worked together. So that was the start of it. And that was when I got to, introduced to Billy, and it was great. And we've been working great ever since. And yeah, like you said, we could stand each other. That's a good way to say it. No,
That's funny.
And
so Max Wines. I mean,
working on all these projects, and it was just, I knew that Billy, like you mentioned before, I knew that Billy had all this, all this experience in all these different facets of the business, and I knew that we were poised to make a big push in distribution with the hardworking wines. We were poised to make a bigger jump in the D2C. Plus, we wanted to develop the property, and I really wanted to bring Billy in because he had a lot of experience in all those different areas. And you never do something by yourself. It's always you have to have a great team. And Billy was kind of like that missing portion of our team that we needed. And so we started working together, and just over time, you just start building a relationship more and more. And then when we talked about him coming on full time, he jumped at it, and we're very happy for him doing that.
Right on. And then there's also, of course, the whole thing with Paper Street Vineyard, and that, in Paso, there's so many connections all over. It's pretty amazing. But I know, Mac, you had consulted a lot with the Ducey family on that piece of property being Paper Street. Billy, of course, pretty familiar with the Ducey family, I would say. But so there's so many ways that we can work together in many different facets. And I dig the fact that, Mac, you were also kind of a part of the progression of Paso into this kind of new and next iconic vineyard.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think that was part of us, Billy and I getting into having conversations. I mean, I think that opportunity to be, consulting is a strong word, but that opportunity to be, in the startup of that vineyard and being on the ground floor was massive. And for Matt and his dad to take a chance on me, to let me, kind of pick the blocks and pick the, all the varieties and all the exposures that I wanted, was incredible. And looking back, it was a big thing for me to bite off. But now when we're in this position now, I wish I took more of the vineyard. But it's a great spot. As we know about that vineyard is, and we've talked about this before, is that, I mean, that vineyard is just, it is extreme from everything. How you grow the grapes, how you farm it, how the wine ferments, how the wine tastes. It's just extreme. It's just an incredible sight, and we are truly blessed to be and fortunate to be with the Ducey family and what they do there, and been able to get those wonderful grapes.
Yeah, for those of you watching, we did do a Paper Street Vineyard show. Mac was on that one. A few other people who are sourcing grapes from that place. We showed some pictures, and I mean the incline just as steep can be. The rock is crazy there, and it's such a neat spot. So go back and find that on the YouTube channel and have a look at that show, because if you hadn't seen it, it's pretty informative. Billy, we started chatting a while back ago when we were going to Chicago, New York, DC, and we were saying, okay, we're going to be showing some wines. Finally, we're getting back on the road in late 2021. And then what surprised me was all of a sudden you're sitting there and you're saying, hey, Bull by the Horns and High on the Hog, and all of this stuff. Like, the next thing you know, Billy, you're there and you're now raising the megaphone for McPrice Myers. How has it been now getting back into this role and talking about these wines in particular out in the marketplace for you? Like, it's different, and you're back, and you were talking a little bit about being excited about being back in there.
It is exciting. I like to grow stuff, right? That's what I like to do. When I hooked up with Mac and we worked on the property thing, obviously I got very versed, and he was sharing with me everything he was doing and how he had kind of taken these labels, kind of as he calls it. It was like he was remodeling a house, right? He said, I stripped them down to the studs and kind of started over on what I wanted each of them to be. And then he started to include me in conversations, which was great to bounce ideas off each other about, okay, and now that they can grow, how much can they grow? How do we make it sustainable? How do you grow it and not get your thumbprints off of it, which is critical? How do you grow it and keep it authentic? And we both saw that we were both absolutely on the same page on what would be too big to lose control of that, but what would be too small so it really wouldn't be meaningful, both financially and for all the effort that we'd have to put into it. So that was kind of the essence of the starting the conversation. Got us excited. I love the brands. They're fun, but yet they're premium wine. It's interesting. I mean, the tagline that we have for the wines is premium wines that don't break the bank, and it's true. Because when you drink them, you go, okay, this is gonna be fun. It's High on the Hog. Then you drink it and go, shit, that's fantastic wine. And some people be a little surprised at, other people wouldn't. As soon as you hear McPrice Myers is attached to it, you have a high expectation, and it meets the expectation.
So
and
these ones then, with this label treatment, then these are more on the distribution side versus
Correct.
some of the Pinimus wine.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
And
absolutely.
you have to do that. I mean, distribution and direct to consumer are two different worlds. So when I started talking with Billy, it was like, I want to build something from the ground up for distribution. We kind of already had the direct to consumer thing kind of going, and it was going to evolve and do what it was going to do, and it was going to evolve organically. But building something for distribution with Billy's experience, I really wanted just to tap into. I wanted to condense it down to less SKUs, and I really just want to focus on making some incredible wine and build it the right way. And that's when Billy came in, and we kind of been ham and egging it and building this thing and doing it the right way, because we both
open a few new markets, Billy.
Who do you think the ham is, and who do you think the eggs is?
Back to that.
So the thing is that getting back out into that side of it, though, I have seen how it's awfully different, though. I'm incredibly cognizant of the fact that the way that I approached it with Chris and Sam back when we did it the first time around and went from 8,000 to 120,000 cases in 6 years with just, 1.5 people in the market, me and Chris coming out from time to time, and that we need to do it differently. So we've scoped it out. We've looked at it. We understand the market's changed, the distribution world's changed, the number of distributors has changed, the chain impact on everything from state to state has changed. And that's what we've been assessing, and we're rolling into that with eyes wide open, and choosing our partners carefully to make sure we can accomplish what we want to accomplish out there. But I think that one of the things I really believe in is that and some people don't, and that's fine. I think that your D2C can be enhanced very nicely if you have wines in the marketplace, and people are experiencing McPrice Myers wine, maybe in the form of a bull by the horns by the glass at a restaurant, or high on the hog, a tremendous red blend, or pound for pound Zin. They'll fall in love with those wines. They're $25. They're very affordable. They'll drink a lot of them. Then they'll come find Mac when they come to town.
Yeah.
And then you melt their face with the real premium stuff.
Yeah.
And I saw that work day in and day out for 6 years at Christian Sam's and my tasting room. So I saw it. I know other people in town that do have a similar philosophy. I see it working for them. So I don't. I think there can be an enhancement to your D2C. Yeah, it's a little extra work. You got to have a few more employees. Again, though, and like I said, if I'm having enough fun at it, it doesn't feel like work. And I think that we've got the these guys are Mac's got a great team. There's a lot of youthful exuberance there. Thank God. They keep me thinking at it from that perspective and keep me forgetting my age. So I think I can go hit the road again, and I'm going to. And
we know it's your last hurrah, Billy. We know
it's my last hurrah. I'm going to go for it. But no,
let's not put them out to pasture yet.
I think these things can complement each other. It's not for everybody, because you got to decide you want this whole other world to be a part of, and nobody's got to do it. But when Mac was starting to decide to build these great wines, because of his passion for, frankly, hardworking wines, his passion for wines that over deliver for the price point, and it's all based upon where he came from and how he got into the business at 18 years old, drinking everything he get his hands on with his managers at Trader Joe's, as they were just allowing him for 3 years while he wasn't even old enough to drink, to gain a palate and gain an understanding and gain appreciation for what can you drink for $20, for $25.
Yeah.
And these hardworking wines are aptly named because of that. And that's what's exciting. And it doesn't
I love
hurt
this
that,
comment from over on the Facebook side of things. The Blue Collar Series, as it's been
it used to be called, yeah.
has a quality to price ratio that's better than any wine that they enjoy drinking high on the hog every week at a local restaurant there in Columbus. That's pretty cool that those wines are ready and available and already recognized as that. We should talk a little bit about what we're drinking, speaking of high on the hog, because Billy, I think you've got a little high on the hog in the glass. Or did you?
He
I
did.
did. I'll put a little more in.
So Mac, talk a little bit about what is in high on the hog. What is this wine? What is bull, and then what is bull by the horns? I mean, what are we talking about in these wines?
So high on the hog is a red blend. It varies from year to year, but typically, up to this point, it's been mostly Syrah and Grenache with some dabs of Mourvedre and Petite Syrah and a little bit of Graciano and kind of whatever, kind of some stuff that we have from our D2C side, our premium side. And it takes a while to put that blend together, to be honest with you. It takes a long time because there's so many different personalities that you're putting together. But that's typically we just call it a red blend, but those are the varieties that are in it.
I like how you said different personalities to put together, because these wines, obviously they are very, they're put together. You're not just kind of throwing what's left over. I mean, this is a very kind of, very specific process that you're going through.
Yeah, you have to go through all the motions. You have to try to exhaust all options when you're blending, and it takes a long time. And even when we're talking about the value side of things, the wholesale side of things, we spend as much time on those as everything else. I mean, it's hard to put together a big production wine that hits all the notes because you're going after this really broad market On the direct to consumer side, I mean, you know, those are much more specific personality wines. Those are like wines that just I really kind of I'm looking for something, you know, particular, whether a particular style or grape varieties or, you know, just it's really they're really fine tuned, and you know, people get to taste them and decide what
Well,
they
talk
like.
about Beautiful Earth. I mean, you have Beautiful Earth, that's a red wine. You have Beautiful Earth, that's a white wine. But talk about the wine that you're drinking that has that fine point. Like, what is that personality?
So the Beautiful Earth is what that is that's kind of the jumping off point to the McPrice Myers direct to consumer side. You know, so this has it's all West Side fruit. It's mostly from vineyards like Paper Street and our estate and a few different sites that we buy grapes from. But you know, we want this to showcase our house style and the varieties that we work with. And this one takes a crap load of time to make because we're trying to hit the spot of something that's drinkable, but also has that structure and that vibrancy that we like to make here. So it takes a long time, but this one happens to be 60 Syrah, 10 Cabernet, 10 Grenache, 8 Mourvèdre, 6 Petit, 2 Zin, 2 Graciano, and 2 Claret Blanche, a white variety.
Okay.
And that was put together. Nothing was just thrown in there. So it does take a long time. And
Is so is Beautiful Earth basically kind of like High on the Hog and Bull by the Horns? Is it kind of a separate label, if you will?
no, we wanted to have something that we could do both direct to consumer and a little bit in wholesale.
Okay.
And Beautiful Earth was our most famous name in wine at the time. So we decided to use this as the name to create 3 different wines. We do a white, a rosé, and a red. And we decided to market it that way and give it its own label, just because it is slightly a different, not a different style of wine. It's just we wanted to be a little bit more approachable and you know, your Thursday night wine, so to speak.
Yeah. How stoked were you, and I don't know if you did or didn't, but how stoked were you with that name and the fact that it wasn't taken already? Because that is a bitchin' name for a wine.
Oh, it was crazy because the first vineyard that I bought grapes for this wine in 2005, it was called Terabella. And so when I made Beautiful Earth, of course, you do the searching and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I was blown away. And then now we're being able to grow it and have it out there a little bit in the wholesale market and our, being our most popular, wine to our club members and our, side of things. It's great. Yeah. People love the name. It resonates with people for sure.
And it's
Let's
one of the
talk
ones
a little
that,
bit about this wine, if we could. So I already butchered the name, but Fait Accompli.
Yeah, Fait Accompli. Yeah. I mean, it's a fancy term for basically no brainer. That's what I like to say. I did when I first started making wine, I was really dedicated and really focused on the Rhone side of things. I mean, I'm a Rhone wine geek. But I always like those Rhone Cabernet or Rhone Bordeaux kind of blends that you're getting out of Paso. So, but I never purchased grapes, never, contracted anything until Paper Street. And we planted, we contracted 1 acre of Cabernet. And I think it was the 2018 Cabernet. It was insane out of barrel. And I mean, I kept on saying how good it was, but in the back of my mind, the whole time I knew that I was going to do one of those Cab Syrah Bordeaux kind of blends. And so the first one was a Cab Syrah, and hence the name Fait Accompli, no brainer, or accomplished fact as it literally translates. And so I mean, I'm a fan of those wines. You talk about guys like Stéphane Asseo, who started doing that way back when, and why he came here. He was able to do that kind of stuff. And I'm a fan of those wines in the south of France, like Trevelin, and there's a few producers, Le Grand Japere, and they decided to say basic table wine. They reduced their wine down to a basic table wine, just so they could blend Cabernet and Syrah and other varieties together. And that, I thought that was really cool. That was dedication, and I always loved those wines since like the early 2000s, and that's where I was at on it. So, I mean. I just
Zach froze. Chris freeze. Everyone freeze.
Paso's not known for It's not, I mean, obviously we grow the most Cabernet, but we're known for so much. The Rhone thing is huge, obviously. We all know that. Old Vine Zin, the legacy grape, I mean, it's insane. And then of course the Bordeaux, if you grow Cabernet in the right spot, it's magical. So that was my inspiration.
Yeah, that's great. And so for everybody to know, this is a 2019 and 58% Cabernet Sauvignon, 34% Syrah, 8 Petit Verdot, and definitely really, really delicious. I'm glad I opened this bottle. But then again, honestly, you open anything from his portfolio and you're going to be pretty happy. Billy, there's a quick question that came in that I want to make sure we get to before we start wrapping things up. And that was 3 things you look for in a distributor relationship that you're willing to share.
Okay. I'm not part of the McPrice Myers law firm, but if I is I would charge $300 an hour for this advice. No, I'm kidding. McPrice Myers isn't a law firm. Let's make that clear to everyone, by the way. No, I look at their book. I look at overlap for varietals that you might want to sell and region you're selling from. And not so that you necessarily run away from a place where you might think there's overlap. Overlap can actually be good. I have purposely put us into books where there are other pretty major players and Paso Robles already there. And part of the reason for that is that there are certain books, especially on the boutique side, if you stay away from, say, there's 2 very multi-billion-dollar players. If you kind of come out of that range and stay, if you're not in those 2 and you come down another rung, distributors can be kind of the go-to book to look for A, B, or C. And sometimes being in that book when they're coming in is great. Plus, depending upon if those players might be a lot bigger than you and you're a little smaller, the sales force, they see a massive differentiation. It could be the same varietal from Paso Robles, but now they've got one from a major production player potentially and a more boutique production player. So the salespeople will appreciate these differentiations. Number of salespeople is key. Good references on whether or not they pay their bills. That's really important, everybody. Really important. But I think looking at it from that perspective is good. And then, number of years in the business, and where's the management come from? Are they, overall, are they selling all their wine to only chains, or they got legitimate relationships in the broad market, which is as many bottle shops that are still around, and restaurants. And building your brand in the beginning in that way is very, very important, at least in my opinion. And maybe that's kind of an old school way to look at it. As has been said before in this call, I'm older. Drinking trips to the bathroom. I think that's an important factor, is like, where are they at? Where are most of their relationships at? If you look at their whole book and you find out that they've sold 80% of all the wine that's in their book to Costco, that might not be a great fit for you. And then you got to talk to them. I spent a lot of time talking to these people. We just don't make a flash decision, say, hey, oh my God, they want the wine, let's sell it to them. Get to know them, because that personal relationship and your working relationship actually is quite important. And especially if you're a little smaller, it's even more important, because that's what'll get you over the top, get you the extra ride with, get you the extra time in the market, get you the extra time at the sales meeting, is developing a relationship. And if you feel like you can work together well, that ends up being really the end all. And then not being in too many places in the distribution world. Limit the number in the beginning, get deep, and then move on to the next one. Get deep, because you're going to spend a lot of money on going to a place and working with a distributor. You can spend a lot of money in a lot of different places and sell them each 10 cases of wine. That's not really going to help you that much. If you can sell 100 in one place and spend your time focused there, and then you're gonna the neighboring states are go, what are they selling over there? These guys are all connected. They know what's going on. And I think that getting deep and getting roots into one distributorship in one state or a couple, and then moving on to others, I think is also a good way to go too. But that relationship, what's in the book, don't be afraid to go to a book that does have other things that are like yours, depending who they are. And those other couple of points, I think, are key things to look at.
Right on.
By the way, anybody and anyone in town that already knows me knows this. Anybody can call me, and I'll sit on the phone with you for 2 freaking hours and talk about it with you. No problem.
And that's why he is the wine industry person of the year, people, because he is an open book and ready to share and a wealth of knowledge. So that's awesome, Billy.
We got to talk about the property real quick, though. We are
Yeah,
building
that's,
a
I was just going to
hospitality
get to
center.
that.
And I want
wanna
Mac to talk about the new
property.
hospitality center, because that's where his new partner Venus has come into our company and has been a game changer with Mac and this property and sharing the vision with him to take this property to a level it's never been to before, along with these programs that I'm talking about today. But the property is one of the key features to that.
Yeah, all the above. Her being supportive of everything that we're doing, being a really true great partner. And yeah, I mean, when we got the property, it was all about how do we develop it, and so the first thing we did was we remodeled the house. I'm actually in it right now. It's a vacation rental, and beautiful view up top here, overlooking the vineyards, and you're about right in the middle of the property. But the next phase, which we're all excited about, we were talking about it today, in fact, is we're building a new hospitality center near the tasting room, the current tasting room down below. And we're going to be building, what do we say, what's the square footage, Billy? I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter. It's going to be a beautiful new spot where it's
a lot of outdoor space up underneath the oak trees. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be really insane. And, I'm pretty excited because, when I started in this business 20 years ago, I'd never thought in a million years that I'd be, owner of a property, have great partners, have a tasting room being built, have a winery, have employees, go down the list of all the things that we have now. And we're excited. And this property has a lot of potential and a lot to do. I mean, you're going to see a lot more in the future, and we're excited about it.
Awesome. That's cool. And I'm stoked for you guys. I think that there's a lot of really cool things in store for McPrice Myers as a brand and also as a personality. With you guys, you're just killing it. And so thank you so much for being on the Paso Wine Hour. So stoked. Quick shout out to Liz, who works for you there at McPrice Myers, because she helped, of course, to, I think, maybe wrangle you guys a little, keep you guys organized. And
I was going to say, I think on many occasions, I think Mac and I would say we probably work for Liz. I think that's a good thing, because she knows what she's doing and keeps us and keep making sure we're supposed to be. But she is director of operations for all the operations of the winery from head to toe.
Yeah, you keep her. Don't let her.
Oh,
anyway. So
this is a brand partner too.
For all that you've done,
Adrian and the seller, we're all pulling from we're all rowing the boat from the same in the same direction, and it's a good thing.
Yeah, we were going to try to get to other stories as well, because I hear Mac is quite the arm wrestling champion of Chateauneuf-du-Pape and a few other things. But for now, I think we're going to try to call it a show, because we are at a little after 4. Everyone, thanks for tuning into the Paso Wine Hour. Next week, it's not posted yet because I'm working on it, obviously, of course, that's what we do. But we'll have another show posted up on pasowine.com. Future shows, we've got some really neat ideas out there that have been supplied by so many of our members. I know we want to talk about NFTs and the whole blockchain thing here pretty soon. So we'll Billy, thanks. So we'll be talking a little bit about that. Maybe Billy will reappear for that show, because he clearly has feelings about that, according to his facial expression. And then we'll be.
Is that an NFT? Hang on, so if I can put that in my mouth, hang on. Yeah.
Can't do that with an NFT.
I think it sounds cool. I haven't figured out how to drink them yet, though. I just haven't figured out how to drink them yet. I haven't figured that out. But if you can help me, I'm in.
We might have to get you back on, Billy. Anyway, and so we're going to be talking a little bit about that and about other interesting connections. We still have other AVA shows to do. And so stay tuned. Go to pasowine.com. Also, go download the latest edition of Where Wine Takes You, the podcast, because it just so happens to feature these two gentlemen right here. And so it goes into a whole different thing. Actually, I purposefully didn't listen to it because I didn't want to end up asking the same questions as Adam did for this show in particular. So I wanted to make sure it was completely void, but I am going to go listen to it because Where Wine Takes You is pretty cool. So go and check out the podcast. Until next time, thank you everyone for watching. Thanks, Mac.
Thanks, Chris.
Congrats, Billy.
Bye, everybody.
Congrats,
All right,
Billy.
we'll see you later.
It was
Billy,
fun.
go Sox.
It was fun. Go Sox, go Pats, go Celts, go Bruins. Yeah.
Yes, that's right.